You're listening to The Real Fan Review with Hav, Sanj, Al, and B.
What's going on, podcasters and YouTubers? This is Hav here, one of your hosts from The Real Fan Review. Today with me, we got my brother B.
What's up, everybody?
We got our man in the chair, Al.
How's it going, everybody?
And dropping in any minute now, I promise you guys, we got Sanj coming in. What does he always say? Good evening, everybody. It's always a pleasure to be with you.
He's going to run to the other square.
So listen, guys, today we're going to be talking about that King Kong versus Godzilla trailer. Or is it Godzilla versus King Kong? I always flip the two around.
I think it's Godzilla versus Kong.
Yeah. Well, not according to the trailer. Kong owns it. But and we're also going to give you guys a review of the WandaVision episode number 3 there, give you our take and our thoughts on what's happening and what we think is going on. And the last thing we're going to do is we're going to put ourselves into some TV shows and tell you why we like these TV shows or what we're going to put ourselves into. So let's get right into the news of the minute, because literally King Kong trailer just came out at 12. Guys, Godzilla versus King Kong coming to HBO Max, I believe, sometime next month or in March. I think it's in March coming out. So yeah. We saw the trailer just come out just a few minutes ago. Brandon, tell me your thoughts on Godzilla versus King Kong.
It looks sick, man. The trailer looks incredible. You know, the whole setup of I love how it started with mostly Kong. Because, you know, we haven't seen Kong since the Skull Island movie. So I love how it was all about Kong at first, and then Godzilla just comes up. He just comes on in and just fucks everything up. And I think that is beautiful. I'm so psyched. I just hope they don't, you know, I think we were saying this before, you know, they made the 2 other movies of the Godzilla movies, and they had incredible, beautiful trailers. And then the movies kind of were like, because there is so much people's story. I don't care about people's story. Let them fight.
Let them fight. Yeah, man. And Sanj just jumping in. Thank you for coming on, my brother.
Anytime, guys. What's up with you guys? How you doing?
Nothing much, man. So we just started the podcast, Sanj, and we're talking about the Godzilla versus King Kong trailer. Not sure if you got a chance to watch it just yet or anything.
I did not.
No worries,
I
man.
Failed.
It's all good, man. And Al, man, how about yourself, man? I know you just watched the trailer yourself.
Yeah, same thing. It builds up the movie, like Brandon was saying, gets you all excited to watch it. I'm just hoping that's not all of the action of the movie, kind of like what they did with Battle of the Monsters. So, but I'm a little disappointed so far because I'm a big Godzilla fan more than I am a King Kong fan, and Godzilla's getting his ass kicked throughout that trailer. So,
I mean, like most Godzilla movies are like that. He gets his ass kicked for a while, and then he summons his power and somehow overcomes.
He pulled the
rope. It's an allegory.
Yeah, because I mean, he's the one. He attacks the boat. He destroys everything, and Kong just comes up and punches him dead in the face and throws him back in the water. I'm like, what?
Yeah. It's crazy.
Rough Riders anthem.
I mean, listen, I hear what you guys are saying because it does look interesting. The fight looks crazy. But again, I saw Skull Island, and Skull Island was okay. It was pretty cool. It was okay movie. Godzilla, the first one, I liked, but it wasn't enough Godzilla for me. Godzilla, King of the Monsters, let me down because they kept, like Brandon was saying, they just kept interrupting the fighting with some nonsense human story that we don't need. We're here for the monsters. So I'm hoping in this one they've learned their lessons from the previous movies. They've had 3 tries at it. This is their 4th. So hopefully they'll realize all we want to see is King Kong versus Godzilla. Okay. Yeah. So
they're like, can we only cast Godzilla? They're like, Godzilla doesn't even have a voice. He's not even casted in the movie. They're like, we can't do that. So we have to have Millie Bobby Brown and, you know,
Skarsgård.
We have to pay somebody, I guess. Yeah.
Now, Sanj, have you watched any of the other previous movies, like the King Kong, Skull Island, or the Godzilla and all those?
Yes, I have.
What would you think of those movies?
They were okay. You know,
they're entertainment for the moment.
Yeah, they're entertainment for the moment. I mean, I prefer the older Godzilla movies just because I mean, it's horrible. The special effects and everything are just horrible. But to me, they're more classic. And you figure at the time these were like the first time people had seen these type of stories and that type of monster and everything. And so the shock factor was there. Like now, I mean, I guess they want to show off that they're getting better with special effects. But to me, the shock factor is just not there, and the story's just not good.
Yeah,
You
man.
know?
And listen, like we've been saying, they've had 3 cracks at it already. Usually it's 3 strikes and you're done. They're doing a 4th one. But luckily for most of us, we're going to be watching on HBO Max. I mean, some of you guys have access to your theaters where you can go in, or you feel comfortable enough to go to your theaters. But HBO Max will be the place I watch it at home on the 4K there. So
yeah, if I want to stay married, I ain't going to no theater.
Now, are you guys
not having it? The wife is not having it.
Did we see Zack Snyder as an executive producer on this one or not? Because the story kind of feels like I've seen it before. You got these 2 guys who aren't gonna get along, and something's pulling the strings that they're gonna probably end up fighting together at the end of the movie. Kind of feels like a Batman Superman. So I don't know.
Say both of their mothers are named Martha.
I was gonna say, like, I hope like Godzilla isn't like stepping on King Kong's neck. He's like, Martha, why did you say that name?
Why did you say that name? Oh man! But listen, guys,
Martha doesn't die tonight.
No.
Got him.
Listen, guys, when that movie comes out in March, we'll be definitely giving you guys a review of King Kong and Godzilla fighting, and whether it's called Godzilla versus King Kong or King Kong versus Godzilla, we'll be here for you guys to tell you what we think.
There's going to be 2 movies because they're going to do a home and home, like battle. So they'll have 2 movies and they'll switch the names.
Before we go to another topic, just really quick off the top, early vote on this, and I want to see where you guys are at. Al, does King Kong or Godzilla win the fight?
Based on the trailer, it looks like Kong, but my money is hoping on Godzilla.
Sanj, who you got your money on?
Yes.
All right.
My money's on Kong.
Kong. All right. Brandon?
I don't like King Kong, so I'm always gonna go for Godzilla. I think the trailer told us perfectly that one of these guys is gonna fall, one of them's gonna die at the end of the movie. My guess is it's gonna be Kong because Godzilla is the first name on the trailer, so I'm thinking Godzilla's taking it.
Wow, I'm gonna go King Kong also on this one, man. I think King Kong is gonna win and
we're split down
fight.
The middle.
Yeah, he's gonna take the fight.
Damn dirty ape!
So
that gorilla would done punched you in your eye.
So we'll give you guys the final tally of the fight on when it comes out and gets released, and we'll give you a quick review on that. And you know what? If you guys are watching on YouTube or you're listening on the podcast, if you're listening, email us at therealfanreview.com and let us know, who you're pulling for. You're pulling for Godzilla, you're pulling for King Kong. If you're watching on YouTube in the comments below, just let us know who you're pulling for. You want Godzilla or you want King Kong in this fight? We'd love to see what you guys say. So we'll be reviewing that and tell you who wins next week. Now, on to the main course of the week. Oh man, WandaVision episode number 3 in color. Oh my goodness. So listen, Brandon and Sanj weren't able to make it last week, so I'm personally interested in hearing their take. So let's get right into episode 3 there. Sanj, tell me your thoughts on what's happening in WandaVision.
All right, so for the first 2 episodes, since I didn't get to weigh in last week, I was like, what the fuck is going on? I'm like, it was kind of like, why are we here? What are we doing? What's the purpose of this? But then it becomes quite evident something else is going on here, and
Right.
It doesn't, and everything is not as it seems. And the 3rd episode, just when are we doing spoiler?
So I'll tell you what, let's again, because it's only like a half-hour show and it's MCU, pretty much everything we talk about is going to be a spoiler. So if you haven't seen WandaVision episode 3 yet and you don't want to know anything that's happened, pause us, come back to us. But if you're here, this is what we're going to do. We're going to go right into the whole episode and talk about different parts of the episode. It's going to be all spoilers. So you guys have been warned. Sanjay, continue, my friend.
All right. So when Geraldine was just at that moment when she was like, his name was and Ultron killed Piotr. That's when it like
Petro.
got real. Petro. Yeah. Sorry, I never know how to pronounce the Russian version of Peter. Like I never know how to pronounce it. But anyway, when she did, then you saw like the whole mood of everything in the show changed, like right there.
Right.
And she's like, "What did you say?" And he's like, "Nothing. I didn't say nothing." So that's what
it got real quick.
Yeah, no. So for me, I'm like, okay, there's really gonna be some great story here because whether it be in this episode or down the road in the series, it's gonna be great because you see Wanda's clearly working through something. You don't know whether she's in her own mind or she's being trapped by something else based on what you see at the end of the episode. So you just know there's something big going on and it revolves around Wanda. And it makes me question now, is Vision real? Is he alive? Is he just in her mind? Like what's going on? So I'm just completely intrigued by all this because that's one of the biggest questions. What happened to Vision in all of this? Right. And we don't know. So I kind of like that they chose the format that they did to make it, something retro, but at the same time it's not.
Absolutely, man. And Brandon, how about yourself, man? What did you find yourself liking a lot in the third episode? You witnessed a whole bunch. You witnessed the pregnancy and then the delivery, a full-term baby in like 10 minutes.
2 full-term babies.
Two full.
Those some big babies too.
And it's actually cool because that moment actually came out of the comics where Tommy was delivered and there was no idea that there was a second baby, and then out of nowhere, here's a second baby, so that actually came straight from the comics, that the way they did that with Tommy and Billy. What I honestly love the third episode because it really sets in motion the notion that maybe Wanda's in more control than you think.
Yeah.
It's the first and second episode. The first episode, I would say, you kind of think like they're led into this and something's going on, that Wanda's powers or something is making this happen, and they're kind of stuck in it. At the end of the second episode, when she reversed the time to change the outcome, you're like, oh, she has a hand, but maybe she's not the one in full control. In this episode, I think it's trying to show you that she has more control than you think she does. And that she is directly influencing this. Now, I think that there's still someone pulling the strings, but maybe this person doesn't have as much control as they thought they would over Wanda.
Gotcha.
I think, I forget her name, but she played Mrs. Hart in the first episode. She was the wife. And when the husband was choking, the other actors, when Wanda starts doing weird things, they get a little weird too. Not too direct, like in the second episode, that other lady, she got a little direct with Wanda, but not too direct. The Mrs. Hart, she was looking at Wanda and goes, "Stop it, Wanda. Stop it, Wanda." So I think she's the one who kind of created this field in Westview and allowed Wanda to use her powers here, but Wanda has more control of this than she does.
Wow. So Brandon's pulling in Mrs. Hart as the villain of the movie, of the series.
Well, I'm in the mix right now that
Gotcha.
she is the villain working for I think she's working for somebody, not Sword, but I think Wanda kind of pulls through as a villain here.
All right.
And influencing. I think when Wanda, I think they're trying to allude that Wanda may be the villain, but I think Wanda's going to break of this kind of control and set things in motion later down the line.
Gotcha.
I think the last thing that I really love the most is the inclusion of Sword. We talked about Sword at the end of Far From Home, how it could be the thing Marvel's jumping into, and they're like, no, this is what we're doing. Here's Sword. I'm like, oh shit, that's great. Yeah. So I'm loving what they're doing so far, and I'm so incredibly anxious to see what happens next. Now that Vision's starting to catch on a little bit.
Gotcha, man. And Al, man, how about yourself, man? I mean, you're a resident conspiracy theorist like myself. You see a lot of things at play, and I think one of the things that weirded me out the most, besides Wanda, and we'll get to Wanda and Geraldine's interaction a little bit sooner, but it's the interaction of the neighbors. The neighbors were kind of acting funny, and
Oh.
I feel like Herb was about to say
Herb,
something.
Yeah.
And Agnes stopped him. It was not Agnes. Is it Agnes?
Yeah, Agnes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
She stopped and she's like, "Hey." Like,
Yeah.
so, what, Al, tell me, what was Herb about to say, man?
Like I think he was, I think he was going to say that they're all trapped there, and that's why
No,
Geraldine was there.
He was
So,
gonna say something. Oh yeah, sorry.
No, because his response was Geraldine, that why was she here? And his response was she's here because we're all, and then that's when he got stopped. So
Uh-huh.
if she's there because of them, my take was they're trapped in this world. And kind of to what Brandon was saying, I think there's an ultimate villain, but I think Wanda for the show is going to be the bad. I
Wow.
think she's the one that's trapped them all there. But I think somebody's deceiving her, and I think that's what the commercials are. And I think that's what has caused her to create this world. So, because if you notice,
Gotcha.
all the commercials are dealing with in the first episode, it was forget your past, this is your future. Then the second one was about time, and then the third one was about basking in Hydra and forgetting and letting go. So I think somebody is like messing with her mind in terms of, this is what you can do, this is how you can get by and get over everything, and they're using that to trick her into creating this reality and basically creating life, because she created, I think she recreated Vision.
Wow.
And yeah, and like to look forward down the story, I'm wondering if that's how they bring about everything else that we've talked about, like the mutants and everything, like that she has this ability to create not only material items like the buildings and the coloring and the grass and the furniture and everything, but life as well. And
Right.
ultimately, that's how she brings the mutants. So, like, they're going to slowly show that she brought Vision back, that she manifested these children in herself, and then the show is going to be to show at the end that she's the main bad, and then that'll lead us into the movies, where the movies will be about bringing her back and getting her away from whoever the main bad is going to be.
Yeah. I mean, listen, I was a little confused by some of the stuff too, because, when we saw the second episode, when the beekeeper came out of the manhole in the street there, I thought to myself, I'm like, oh, she's kind of controlling this stuff. She just made it rewind and go back to something better. But the thing that got me on this week's episode was when it looked like Vision was trying to like figure things out, and he went to talk to Wanda about it. He's like, something's strange, something's off here. It doesn't feel right. And like she blinked and like it went back, a couple seconds there. And then later on in the episode, you see her, I don't want to say transform, because she didn't transform, but that fake person that she's pretending to be, the character in these little episodes of
Like she
these
dropped
old
the
school
facade
TV.
of it.
Yeah, she got kind of scary to me. She started to tear up and cry. Her face changed. Her voice changed.
Mhm.
And even the way that she was speaking to Geraldine was like, oh,
Yeah.
I think we got our villain right here. You know what I mean? So it's kind of crazy. And I don't know, man. I'm very, very confused, because I do feel there's someone manipulating her, but I wonder if I feel that way just because I know she's a good guy. She fought with the Avengers, but at the same time, I'm like, there's a lot of hurt there. As soon as she remembered her brother, when she said, I also had a twin, you saw the pain and you saw what was going on. And I'm like, all right, so she's remembering that, and that caused that little bit of an emotion right there. Now, let alone Vision also dying twice, I'm like, what is going on, kid? It's
Mhm.
kind of nuts.
Well,
Yeah.
remember, as kids, it was like the Tony Stark bomb, or the Stark bomb that had killed their parents, or and then that's what led to them joining up with Hydra and everything. And remember, they started off in the MCU as bad guys, and then they became
Exactly.
good guys. But they had that trauma as young kids that led them down the path that they went down, and then she lost her brother too. So she's
Yeah.
she's she's traumatized in her youth, in her adulthood, and so she's got a lot of rage. She's unstable mentally.
Hmm.
She's probably emotionally unstable, and on top of it, she has these superpowers that she can basically manifest anything that she wants. Imagine what you would do with your rage
Hmm.
and your hurt and your pain if you had that kind of power and it's unchecked,
Yeah.
right? So that's where we are with her. She's very unstable.
I got you, man. You know, I want to ask you guys now, and we'll go around the table on this one. I'll start with you, B, on this. If the doctor was planning this trip to go to Bermuda, and he was, doing the doctor thing, telling them about the baby and how far everything was going and everything, and then towards the end of the episode, he kind of admitted that you can't leave the small town, and he goes, you can't escape, but he also said it like he was scared as well.
Hmm.
Then the neighbors were scared to tell the truth also. And so I want to ask you, Brandon, what do you think is going on with the people outside of WandaVision's home, the neighbors, the community? Like,
I
do you think
I
they're
think
real people that are trapped, or manifestations, or what do you think is at play there with the neighbors?
I think they're real people who are trapped because at the shot at the end of the episode when Geraldine got kicked out of the force field was Westview, right? So I'm thinking this is a real town in New Jersey that because of whatever events happened with Wanda, she is now taking this whole town or this
Wow.
area of this town and has made it her way, her sitcom. So these people have been forced to cooperate or they get the boot or something worse. So they can't leave unless Wanda removes them from there.
Wow.
Kind of like Geraldine. This is how like they were so cautious about Geraldine, like she doesn't have a home here, kind of a thing. So where does Geraldine go at the end of an episode? So like
Mm.
I don't think they can leave unless Wanda removes them.
Wow, man. And Al, how about you? What's your thoughts on the neighbors and everything going on with them?
Yes, I think they're trapped there. Like, and that was, I think, what the doctor was basically saying. Like when he said, "Oh, you get to go on your trip," and he was basically, "No, we're trapped here." And now, in the context of how he was saying it, it seemed like he was referring to, "Oh, just when I thought I was going to go on my trip, you guys had your baby, so now I'm trapped here." But in the context of the show, we know that I think he's alluding to, no, we are literally trapped here, and
Right.
Wanda's the one keeping them there. And I heard, and just listening to other people's thing on the show, they reminded me of an episode of Twilight Zone where they had an episode of a kid that had similar powers, and just out of
Right.
fear of his retribution, everybody acted out the story that he had told them to act. So I'm wondering if that's what's happening here.
Mhm.
They're using that kind of a structure for this storyline, that she's scared them so much that they are willing to act out whatever scenario she's putting in front of them. And that's why Agnes has been looked terrified 2 times in terms of Wanda. Like last episode, when Wanda said, "Oh, maybe I'll act myself," Agnes looked terrified when she said
Yeah.
that. So, and then now when the fear of, okay, Geraldine may be upsetting Wanda, she looked again terrified of Wanda's reaction. So, like, I just think they're under control out of fear and through Wanda's manipulation.
Yeah. And Sandra, how about yourself, man? What's your thoughts, man? You think they're a manifestation, or they're real people just acting out scenes because they're made to?
I thought at first they were manifestations, but then at the end of the third episode, when we saw Geraldine get ejected, basically from Westfield, like you see that, hey, this is a real place, and you saw like the cloud over it, or the distortion, I should say, around it. You get the idea that Wanda's creating this world, but these people, actual people, might be trapped there because of
Right.
her, since Geraldine can be ejected that way. So whatever's inside is trapped on the inside, and like B was saying, like Wanda's in control of who comes and goes, or who gets to stay or leave or ejected, or you can't leave unless Wanda's the one sending you out. So it may be that Wanda was trapped somehow, or somebody's trying to use her powers in some way, but then she's pushing back, and to defend herself, she's created this bubble for herself, for
Yeah.
lack of a better way to describe it.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting, man. I'm looking forward to what happens in the next few episodes there. With Geraldine now kicked out, into back to where I guess the real MCU is, or the real timeline of what's going on. You see that the whole army team is like located right outside. They have barracks ready. They have their trucks, and a whole bunch of people came out there to go get her after she got kicked off the show. I thought one of the things I thought was interesting was when she got kicked off, and you see her go through the I don't want to say it's like a bubble, but she came through something that looked like a TV screen almost. She came out and she was still wearing those 70s clothes that she had on.
Right.
She still had everything. She had her
Right.
hair
She was
still the same
ejected
way.
as is. Yeah.
So now I'm wondering, like, even if these kids are a figment of her imagination or she made them up, like you guys are kind of hinting at, I think they're real now. And I think that if she takes them out of that bubble, they're not going to go away. They're real. They're
Right.
there now. So that's
Yeah.
going to be kind of interesting to see what happens when they get them out, or if they're going to send more of a team in, because listen, she got in there somehow. So, and the beekeeper, I wonder what happened to the beekeeper. I mean, I guess because she rewound it, that's it. It never happened. Like,
I
Yeah,
think
that's true.
with the beekeeper, my thinking is like, because you notice that she had the sword pendant, So it seems like Monica Rambeau is part of Sword, and then Kat Dennings may be part of Sword, and Randall Thompson's character, he may be part of Sword as well. So
Right.
my thinking is Sword is trying to find ways into the town, to infiltrate the town, to see if they can disrupt or end what's going on by getting through to Wanda in personal ways, like having Geraldine as a friend of Wanda's. The beekeeper is someone else who's supposed to, be in the town, but he got caught. So I think what's going to end up happening with Kat Denning and Randall Thompson's character is they're going to be infiltrating the town soon, and trying to snap Wanda out of it through some way. I think
Yeah.
that's what Sword's whole intention is we have to infiltrate this town because they're just like Shield, So you would think someone's going to try and infiltrate in some way, so they're going to do it the most covert way they can and try and disrupt whatever's going on. I think that's what's going to lead to what we've seen in some trailers where it seems like they're gearing up for battle, right? It seems like Wanda and Vision are gearing up for battle. So it seems like they may be the bad guys and they may be ending up trying to fight Sword for trying to
right.
get into their home or disrupting their family life. So I think that's where it's going to escalate to.
Yeah, right. Because there's a commercial where I think it's Vision talking to Wanda where he goes, "Well, if you want this reality, we have to fight for it." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh shit."
Mm-mm.
Nuts, man. So I
Yeah.
guess like the last question I have on this for you guys is, Sanj, you go first on this one, man. Do you think it's Wanda containing control or losing control? Because you saw that she was trying to put the crane to go away, and the crane wouldn't go away. She tried to use the puff of the red magic there, and it just the stork kept coming either way, right? And then you see that she was thinking about the I guess the baby's kicking, and she said it felt like a flutter, and then the butterfly started flying. You know what I mean? Like, do you think it's just all part of the pregnancy, or do you think she's losing control, or what do you think is happening in there?
I think she has more control than she knows, and she's
Mm.
starting to learn and assert it. I think
Mm.
that's what happened. What's happening with it? I at the end of it, I think she may be a prisoner in it herself.
Gotcha, man. How about you, Al? You think she has more control than she knows?
I think she has unconsciously all the control, but her conscious mind only knows how to interpret and react to what's actually happening. To the point where I almost wonder how much of this is almost like a dream state. Because
Mhm.
going back to when you pointed out with Geraldine being kicked out, if you notice when she came to on the grass, it was more like someone coming to, like waking up, as opposed to just getting up off the ground. So I'm wondering if she's somewhat like in a different state of mind. So her consciously she can only react to what she sees, but unconsciously she's forcing the storyline along.
Mm.
And so like the whole baby's coming, unconsciously she's manifesting that through a stork, and that's why she, no matter what she did, she couldn't get rid of it.
Yeah, because no matter what, these babies are coming.
Yeah.
And B, how about yourself, man? You think she's controlling everything, or like has control of her emotions and her powers, or do you think it's more of it's just she's losing control and things are just happening out of whack.
I agree with Al, like, completely. That I think she has more control than she does, which that she thinks, but unconsciously she's controlling it, and consciously, things are happening out of her whim to kind of follow storylines or to follow things that she's feeling. And I think the parts where she has control are where her emotions take the most of her. When she wanted to rewind the beekeeper, rewinding Vision, when Geraldine talked about Pietro, and her accent suddenly came back. So I think she has controls in where her feelings are involved. But I think that may also fall under the unconscious control as well. Those moments of maybe, we've seen it in other superhero shows, like, even with the X-Men, when the Phoenix Force is tapped into, Jean Grey is not always conscious to it, but it's happening and Jean Grey's making decisions. So maybe it's something like that where, because of her actual feelings and emotion, maybe due, like Sanjay said, to mental break from all her trauma, it could be when something happens, her emotions intensify, and then she unconsciously now turns into Wicked Wanda, the Scarlet Witch
Wicked
herself.
Wanda.
Wicked Wanda, the Scarlet Witch, and then, make something happen. But I think when that's over, it's Wanda has no idea really what's going on.
Yeah, man. Yeah, real interesting stuff, man. And again, if you guys are watching us or listening to us on your podcast app, every WandaVision episode we're going to go over on the podcast. So, come back to us for next week's episode to hear what we think and what we think is going on and what we thought of the episode. So far, so good for me on the MCU end. They're doing their thing as usual. And love to hear what you guys think. So if you're watching on YouTube, leave a comment below. Let us know what you think is happening there in WandaVision. Or if you're listening on the podcast app, send us an email at therealfanreview@gmail.com. And then the last question I have for you guys today, because of WandaVision, I'm curious to know if there's a TV show that if you could manifest into real life and be a part of, which TV show would that be? And it could be more than one. So Al, man, go ahead and give me, like, what's a TV show you would want to wake up or just be a part of if you could be?
You're gonna laugh, but the one that came to mind when you first posed that question, Gilligan's Island.
Any particular reason why Gilligan's Island?
Kid, I don't know. I guess just with with everything going on this year and all the stress and strain and so forth, the idea of just being on an island where you don't have to worry about food, because apparently there was always food and everything to eat, and there was no stress other than supposedly being rescued. But if you're wanting to be there, then that's no longer a stressor either. So maybe just Gilligan's Island, just literally getting away from everything right now.
I hear you, man. That's awesome. For me, I think the first thing I thought of when I thought about WandaVision, when I was watching the first few episodes, and I saw Bewitched. That was one of my favorites when I was younger. Was Bewitched and Three's Company and all that stuff like that. But the one that hits me the most to my heart that I would love to be a part of would be Family Matters. I would do anything to be Jaleel White's like other half, brother,
Stefan
like
Urkel.
You mean Stefan?
Stefan. I love that show, man. I would have done anything to hang out with Urkel, man. Anything. So that would be the show. And because I love the whole family environment that they had and the ups and downs with Eddie,
Edo. What up, Edo?
Yeah, you know what I mean? And just being a part of that whole sitcom would have been amazing to me.
Geraldo Faldo.
Saj, how about yourself, man? What TV show would you want to be in or manifest yourself into, just like WandaVision is doing?
I'm gonna be very unoriginal here. It always happens. It's Star Trek for me.
Star Trek. All right.
Captain of the Captain of the Enterprise. That's where I'd want to be.
Sanj would wake up, go into the closet. No red shirt, no red shirt, no red shirt, no red shirt.
No, I'm next generation. So next generation, red shirts are in charge.
Okay, there you go. Brandon, man, how about you, man? Is there like a TV show you would want to be in or be a part of?
Oh, the Fresh Prince.
Fresh Prince.
Down. Hands down. It just seems like a fun time being a Banks.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, man. Those are all good ones, man. I if I could pick one more, for some reason, man, I don't think I'd be able to talk to anybody on the show but Frasier. Dude, I love that show, man. Frasier was my jam, man. I used to
Okay.
it would be Friends and then Frasier right afterwards. So
That's
You
like
talk
that's like
about
asking to be in Seinfeld. Like it's a show about nothing.
or Cheers, being Cheers, just sitting in a bar all day drinking with your
there you go.
friends.
Oh my God. You guys got any other ones that you would love to be in?
Living single.
Living Single, yes. I remember that one. That was a good one.
Yeah.
Oh my God. So awesome, man. So listen, guys, just a quick little podcast today, man, because really there was nothing in the movies that we really could watch or talk about, but definitely wanted to talk about the WandaVision with you guys and tell you about that King Kong or the Godzilla versus King Kong trailer there that came out today. So if you haven't seen it, YouTube it, go check it out. This is actually a really good trailer. Makes it very interesting to go see. So again, we are the Real Fan Review coming out of Long Island, New York. And we'll be back next week with information on WandaVision episode 4. And also, I think if you guys are interested, we'll be watching The Little Things with Denzel Washington. It's going to be on HBO Max this Friday coming out. Looks like a good mystery or murder mystery kind of thing going on. Maybe a little bit of a sci-fi element to it, possibly, but more of a horror / drama kind of thing. So I'm looking forward to that. So that's going to be next week. The Little Things with Denzel Washington. Probably give that a watch in WandaVision episode 4. So again, guys, we thank you for watching us, listening to us, and we do this every week. Coming from New York, we got my man Sanj.
As always, everybody, it's a pleasure to be with you. Here we are in the new year. I hope everybody's getting vaccinated. Stay safe.
And we got my brother B.
Adios, everybody.
We got our man in the chair, Al.
Have a good night, everybody.
Yeah, myself, Hob, saying thank you again and good night. And we'll see you guys on the next episode. Until next time.